Order 65, one of the many contingency orders programmed into the clone inhibitor chips, was little known and rarely mentioned. While Order 66, which ordered the execution of the Jedi, gained notoriety, Order 65 remained in the shadows, waiting for its moment. This order, however, was different. It instructed the clones to arrest or execute the Galactic Chancellor if he proved to be a threat to the Republic. This protocol was a safeguard, a last line of defense against absolute power. The fate of the entire galaxy, in a way, rested on the activation of this forgotten order. Anakin Skywalker, one of the most promising Jedi of his generation, was appointed Jedi representative on the Jedi Council by Chancellor Palpatine himself. This appointment, viewed with suspicion by many members of the Council, placed Anakin in a delicate position between his loyalty to the Jedi Order and his growing friendship with Palpatine. This closeness, however, allowed Anakin to see Palpatine's political maneuverings up close, although he was still blinded by the promises of power and salvation that the Chancellor offered him. Anakin felt the weight of this new responsibility, torn between loyalty to the Council and loyalty to the man who seemed to be the only one who understood his fears and desires. Meanwhile, Padme Amidala, senator of Naboo and Anakin's secret wife, along with other senators, began to suspect Palpatine's intentions. Concerned about the Chancellor's growing power and his seemingly endless emergency powers, they formed a delegation to call for his resignation. Padme knew that Palpatine would not resign easily, but believed that a united and strong appeal from the Senate could put pressure on him. Tensions were rising in the Senate, and the galaxy was on the verge of collapse as opposing forces prepared for confrontation. It was then that Anakin discovered the truth that would change the course of his life. Palpatine was not only the Chancellor, but the very Sith Lord the Jedi had been searching for so long. In confronting Palpatine, Anakin felt a whirlwind of emotions, but in the end, he chose the Jedi Order. He went to the Council and revealed the terrible truth. The Chancellor was Darth Sidious, Lord of the Dark Side. The revelation caused shock and awe among the Jedi, but also confirmed their suspicions. From that moment on, Anakin ceased to be a pawn and became a crucial player in the battle for the survival of the Republic. Mace Windu, known for his prudence and wisdom, suggested a risky strategy to the Jedi Council. Instead of confronting Palpatine directly, Windu proposed influencing the Senate through Padme so that the clones could be used to arrest the Chancellor, thus preventing the Jedi from being seen as traitors. This approach, if successful, would allow Palpatine to be captured without bloodshed and without compromising the Jedi Order. Windu knew that the fate of the galaxy was at stake and that a rash action could mean the downfall of the Jedi and the end of the Republic. In the midst of this political conspiracy, Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi discovered, through Senator Bail Organa, the existence of Order 65. Bail, one of the few senators who still trusted the Jedi, revealed this secret order to them, hoping that it could be the key to overthrowing Palpatine without causing a civil war. Anakin was intrigued by the possibility of using this order to save the Republic and, at the same time, clear his name and that of the Jedi. But he knew that activating Order 65 would be a dangerous game that could lead to unpredictable consequences. Activating Order 65 would have significant advantages and disadvantages for the Jedi. Among the pros would be the possibility of removing Palpatine from power legitimately and with the backing of the Senate, thus preventing the Jedi from being accused of treason or of trying to usurp the government. By leaving the decision in the hands of the Senate, the Jedi would be able to maintain the integrity of the Order and protect their reputation in the galaxy, demonstrating that they were still the guardians of peace and justice. However, this strategy would also bring challenges. The decision to activate Order 65 would put the Jedi in a vulnerable position, since they would depend on the clones to arrest Palpatine. If something went wrong, as it could, they would be forced to intervene directly, which could be interpreted as an attempted coup d'état. Furthermore, the trust placed in the Senate and the clones would not be absolute, as both could be influenced or manipulated by the dark side, as has happened before. Another disadvantage would be the uncertainty about the clones' real intentions after the Order was activated. Although Order 65 aimed to imprison Palpatine, there would be no guarantee that all the clones would faithfully obey, especially those who would be under Palpatine's direct influence. This risk would add a layer of unpredictability to the plan, which could result in the destruction of the Jedi, should the clones decide to turn against them, or the complete failure of the mission, leaving the galaxy at the mercy of the dark side. With Padme's help, and supported by Senator Bail Organa, the Senate decided to activate Order 65. The clones, programmed to obey orders without question, were sent to arrest Palpatine. The tension on Coruscant reached its peak as the city-state prepared for the confrontation. Palpatine, always one step ahead, had been expecting it. When the clones arrived, he attacked them with a dark side power never seen before, killing many of them mercilessly. However, even the Chancellor couldn't face an entire army. He fled to a secret space station orbiting Coruscant, a place he had prepared for such an emergency. Mace Windu, Anakin, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, accompanied by some of the surviving clones, did not hesitate to pursue Palpatine to his secret base. They knew he couldn't be left alive, or the future of the galaxy would be doomed. The mission was risky but necessary. As they entered the station, they realized they were walking straight into a trap. But retreating was not an option. It was kill or be killed, and the galaxy depended on their success. The final confrontation between Windu, Anakin, and Palpatine was fierce and relentless. Darth Sidious, at the height of his power, fought with the intensity of 1,000 battles. His fury and dominance over the dark side turned the battle into a spectacle of destructive power. Anakin, torn between his anger and his duty, fought against the man he once considered a mentor. Windu, always focused and precise, kept Palpatine at bay with his purple lightsaber, while Obi-Wan stayed in the rear trying to position himself strategically. During the fight, Palpatine threw a giant piece of hardware at Obi-Wan. Anakin, without thinking, deflected the object, but was unable to prevent the debris from hitting Obi-Wan, who was thrown violently against the wall. For a moment, everything was silent. Anakin, fearing that he had caused the death of his former master and friend, felt a whirlwind of emotions. Guilt, anger, and sadness mixed in his mind. That was the catalyst that led him to make the most important decision of his life. Convinced that Obi-Wan was dead, Anakin decided that Sidious had to be stopped at any cost. His anger boiled over, fueled by grief and guilt. While Mace Windu blocked Palpatine's force lightning with his lightsaber, Anakin took advantage of a gap. Leaping behind Palpatine, he struck a mortal blow with his saber, piercing the Sith Lord's heart. Sidious, taken by surprise, fell dead, and with him, the dark side's plan to dominate the galaxy. With Palpatine's death, Anakin was promoted to Jedi Master and retained his seat on the Jedi Council. The Order recognized his sacrifice and his crucial role in defeating the Sith Lord. This promotion marked the beginning of a new era for Anakin, now wiser and more balanced, aware of the weight of his choices and the responsibilities that came with power. The distrust that the Council initially felt for him dissipated, replaced by respect and admiration. With the Separatist leadership disbanded and Palpatine dead, the war finally came to an end. The Separatist leaders, without the support of their master, surrendered. The galaxy began to rebuild what had been destroyed by the war. The Jedi Council, under the new leadership of Anakin and the other masters, took on a central role in restoring peace and order. The Senate was reorganized, and the Jedi were once again the guardians of peace, now with a new vision of their responsibility and role in the galaxy. Bail Organa, the senator who had helped orchestrate Palpatine's downfall, was elected the new Chancellor of the Republic. His leadership, marked by wisdom and integrity, brought about a period of stability and reconstruction. Organa worked closely with the Jedi Council to ensure that the corruption that had infected the Republic was never repeated. Under her leadership, the galaxy began to heal from the wounds of war, and a new era of peace began to blossom. With peace restored and the threat of Palpatine eliminated, Padme finally felt safe. At Anakin's side, she gave birth to Luke and Leia, surviving the birth. Anakin, now more serene and at peace with himself, stood beside his beloved, feeling a deep sense of relief at having saved his family and the galaxy from destruction. The dark vision Palpatine had planted in his mind that he would lose Padme was dispelled, and he pledged to protect his family with all his might. Luke and Leia grew up on Naboo in an atmosphere of peace and love. Anakin visited his family whenever possible, balancing his responsibilities as a Jedi Master with his role as a father. The children grew up surrounded by the wisdom and teachings of the Jedi, but also by the love and compassion that Padme and Anakin gave them. Naboo, with its beauty and tranquility, became the perfect refuge for the Skywalker family, while the Jedi Order prospered and the Republic grew stronger under the leadership of Bail Organa.